I think you said it very well when you said it just gives you the ability to pick aggressive comps. Like I was saying earlier, YL is the most aggressive team here. This gives them a lot of options. Like you were saying, Muradin, Karrigan, Butcher. There's so many different ways for them to go here. GIA has to look at this and say, you know, what do we do in this situation? Do we try to deny one of those picks? You're not going to cover all the bases.
We see a continuation here of a very unique style here from Team YL, which we haven't seen from any other team. They actually played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, Tyrande as the only support in their composition, paired up with a Karrigan, someone who's very dependent on a high delivering support. And generally you don't put those two together, like it doesn't work. But you know what? They made it work, and they're continuing with that here.
Well, it looks like GIA wants to pick up Tassadar, which is a great benefit of Tassadar is Oracle, his trait, where he can get vision of your enemy teams when they might be rotating. The moment you see them leave their lane, you just hit D and get vision around your lane. Jaina, the most highly contested assassin in the entire game. No surprise to see her picked up.
Now, something that you might say is suspiciously missing if you've been watching some of the Western teams play, and that is Sonya. And we didn't actually see YL grab that in their set against Dignitas when it looked to be a good choice. So even though they do have that aggressive style, not something that they jump on right away, even though the damage output is quite high for that hero.
Yeah, Sonya's win rate in the BlizzCon opening week was 4-1, but it's actually going to be ETC.
ETC picked this early in the draft?
They know that this is a trademark of their play. You guys can see ETC's abilities here. He's got that power slide, and that's really what allows him to pair so well with some of the other heroes like Karrigan. And I'd be very curious to see if that really plays a factor in that second ban phase.
But he's just such a threat with Mosh Pit, that heroic, that forces you to dance, which might not sound all that bad, but when you're rocking out, you become quite vulnerable.
Jake and Kubi, we talk a lot about not just picking a hero for yourself, but taking it away from the opponent. ETC Tyrande, not on top of the list normally.
No.
So, do you think that maybe they're trying to, what I think is they're trying to do, they're trying to hide their 4th and 5th pick, because these are unusual picks, which are picked early, and then maybe they come up with something even stranger later?
Well, the Queen of Blades is showing something. That means they want to be in the face of their opponent.
Man.
And, you know, talk about stuns, right? She's got the Primal Grasp. She has the Impale. You pair that with Tyrande, and then ETZ to just zone in there, dash forward with Power Slide, maybe a Mosh Pit to buy space. Such a powerful start to this draft.
Yeah, talking to Cloud9 actually yesterday about some of their scrims that they were having with the team, I asked them, what do you feel stands out about YL? And they said their ability to completely single out a target as a high priority on the other team and just eliminate them. So far, these 3 heroes that they picked up, I am having a hard time thinking of 3 more that can do more damage output with stuns than those.
You mentioned they were aggressive, Kubi.
Yeah, though they are. This shows that for sure.
So Grubby, GIA, I mean, they have Tassadar, which is defensive. Tyrande, or excuse me, Jaina, she can slow the enemies. Do you think they need to draft just a relatively safe composition in response to this?
Well, the funny thing is they already removed Uther. Uther is the best hero to counter multiple stuns, because you've got both Divine Shield and Cleanse. So they removed one of the more important Cleanse heroes. Most of the other supports can't really afford to give up their level 7 talent to get Cleanse. If you don't know what it does, by the way, it removes a stun from a hero and delays, well, it reduces the reapplication of new stuns and crowd control effects. So Uther is not an option anymore. They need some more defense, I think.
Well, Kubi mentioned the rise of Tyrael. Do you think Sanctification is the correct response to a dive style like this?
I was about to say that. You mentioned that Uther seemed a bit strange to take that away. Tyrael feels almost more weird, right? Because that is a great option to have that invulnerability as an option to remove that style of aggression. GIA ends up picking up Johanna, and there is the Sonya getting grabbed once more.
All right.
Excuse me. Oh.
All right, so I think they still need to support GIA, because they've only got Tassadar, and he provides very minimal healing, even though he provides a lot of shielding. So they cannot have Tyrael anymore.
That's true. I mean, just alone Tassadar here on is a risky way to approach this. Now, there is a fair amount of self-sustain on Johanna and Sonya, so this is quite possible that's what they're going for, but it's definitely a risk just running the lone Tassadar.
So what do you take now as Team YL?
Would fully expect to see a Vala at this point. It's really something that's been trademarked from those teams over on the Asian side. They really like the Vala, just a very well-rounded hero. I think that might be what they're looking at towards more damage. You know, Kael'thas might seem to make a lot of sense, but they really just don't tend to gravitate towards that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kubi. Player DD on Team YL loves to pick up Jaina whenever possible. If that's not possible, goes for Vala. Doesn't play a very large hero pool, but is very comfortable on that Vala. So this could just be very much a comfort pick here. And there we go, Kubi. Nostradamus, nice prediction. So where does that leave us with the last one? Are they going to go for a quote-unquote real support? No, Sylvanas.
Okay, talk about explosive play. They dive in with Kerrigan, the Wailing Arrow, follow up to silence all your opponents, and then ETC can dance for days. GIA, they have one final pick. Brightwing is looking like a solid option just to deny any kind of dive potential. They already have Tassadar, so pairing those two supports together really covers a lot of options or just a lot of sustain for your entire team.
Yeah, it almost feels like you have to take Brightwing here. It's always on the back line, so you can just save your polymorph just in case ETC power slides in and wants to mosh pit and disable your team. Of course, Johanna kind of doubles as a defense against ETC as well, but would have to be really fast turning on that Iron Skin, that Unstoppable.
Yeah, it's, you know, you brought up a really good point earlier, Jake, too, about the predictability of what YL is going for. You know, we sort of painted this picture of that aggressive team. This is a very identical draft to what we saw game number 1 versus Dignitas. GIA has to know this. What you know, resources they have available to them to look at beforehand going into this match is, well, we have this.
Whoa,
Rhaegar! All right, I haven't seen him in a little while.
Let me theorycraft this. Could this be a bloodless competition? I know you're going to hate me for this, but oh my goodness. Now, Rhaegar, a very powerful support, but he has 2 epic heroics as well. Of course, Ancestral Heal, a massive heal, no longer works on Dragon Ice, but we saw it there. It does restore almost a full health pool of your ally, and his other heroic is Bloodlust, really just enrages your entire team, allows them to run forward with additional movement speed and attack speed, and just shred through your opponents.
Now, of course, there are not much relevant auto attackers on GIA besides Sonya and maybe Archon if they are going to be picking up the Archon. But I think against this team, I think we expect Force Wall, yes?
Jake, please. Come on. The Bloodlust is killing me.
I can dream, Kubi. I can dream. Alrighty, well, you know what, guys? The first game of the match is just about ready, but we do want to make sure you guys present your thoughts to us. Head on over to Twitter and use the hashtag HeroesWC, and be sure to tweet at esportsheroes, letting us know who you think will advance in this match. And on that note, Kubi, who won the draft? Who do you think won this draft?
You know, we haven't seen Rhaegar in a while. I'd love to vote for him, but it's so difficult to make use of this heroic, the Ancestral Healing. It's a great burst, but it has some lead-up time into it, which can make it very difficult to use. And when you're up against a team that is known for being able to burst one of your heroes down, it feels a little bit too risky. And we know that YL is so mechanically strong. They got what they wanted, and I just don't see enough of a counter present, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Team YL picked a draft that any team that would study them could very fully expect. Tyrande, Kerrigan, ETC, they have shown this before in this tournament. And they also have the Hunter's Mark for Tyrande, which provides a very large amount of burst damage against a single target. On the one hand, you would say Rhaegar works perfectly against that, but oftentimes it goes so fast, and that 1 second wind-up time for Rhaegar is really difficult to hit.
Alrighty, guys, well, the first game here is about to begin on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Make some noise, because GIA and YL are about to duke it out. On the blue side, it is GIA with Alpha playing as Sonya, Blue Way on Johanna, Goddog will be playing as Jaina, Lulumi on Tassadar, and Rival will be playing as Rhaegar. And their opponents, Team YL. We have DD playing as Vala, Guiji going to be playing as Tyrande, Liang on Sylvanas, SPY on the Kerrigan, and Zhao Di will be playing as ETC.
So how much respect is GIA going to give YL right out of the gate? I would say, looking at their composition, it's not something that scales that well into the late game. And that was really the advantage that Dignitas had on this very battleground against this composition that YL is showing us right now. They knew that if they could get to the late game, they would have a great advantage, especially stacking up those Azmodan abilities. That's not really that present here.
Right.
Sure, Jaina and Sonya are quite strong throughout the game, but there's no breaking point that they're going to hit. And I'm really curious as to what their win condition is that they're looking for.
We're going to have to find out, but really, I mean, it's going to be a lot of defensive rotations. You saw how far back they were. They weren't willing to go through the middle of the battleground as they made their way to the bottom lane to get that farm, but Alpha taking a lot of damage, a big rotation in the top lane. The Prime does connect, and he's taken out immediately. That's the power of this 4-man rotation.
So we do see some rotating around. They do have a good bit of wave clear, especially in the form of Tassadar and Jaina. But when you're getting sniped like that, and that's not a small helpful on Sonya there and getting taken out, a great pull into that, that's going to put a little bit of fear into your boots.
Certainly is. They're making sure to soak the lanes as best they can, but Liang taking a lot of damage. Haunting Wave will get him out of there, so he's going to be A-okay. But top lane has Kerrigan rotating in. Kerrigan is alone right now, does have to be wary of that rotation of Johanna and Jaina that could be present. And it's just going to be a lot of making sure they collect the gems to their maximum efficiency.
Okay, SBY looking to make another pull. This is no stun available. The Iron Skin is not going to be able to get him out. Yes, Xiao Di moves in to get the finishing blow.
That was their warrior, Kubi. That was Johanna, who's the one that's supposed to be hard to kill. And they made it look easy.
No, they made a great move going there. They saw that the Iron Skin was popped. That grants 4 seconds of that unstoppable. Cannot be crowd controlled while that is active. As soon as it was down, they made their move, jumped in. Very well timed, well executed. You know that they are polished in this style.
Okay, well, both teams really just trying to make sure they maximize their gem collection and experience. Almost a full level lead in favor of Team YL at this point. And that is quite impressive. I mean, just a couple takedowns and superior soak is all it takes.
Right, I got to jump back to that, that level lead that we were talking about that Dignitas wasn't really so worried about, but in this case, you cannot fall behind to this composition because there's nothing really that's going to be saving you in that late game.
All right, 30 gems turned in for YL, 0 on the side of GIA. If you turn in 50, you will summon your team a pack of Web Weavers, which push down all 3 lanes. Essentially, you get massive waves of minions that summon more minions, minions on minions on minions.
Very interesting. Grubby was actually talking about, not a high presence of auto attackers, but we do see a lot of leeching abilities that are going to be available to Sonya. We have Tassadar with the leeching plasma.
Oh, 2 targets of Lunar Flare gets 2 kills. Rival will be able to run away in his wolf form, but these pickups, I mean, GIA needs to play a little bit more safe.
You're not going to be able to leech much HP back if you are stunned out. As much as leeching plasma and the war paint are going to be good for Sonya, yeah, in those situations especially, not going to help you too much.
There's just so many stuns available. She's a hero that really struggles with that. Whirlwind, her way to stay alive, like you mentioned, leeching plasma, sure, it can help, but it's not the same kind of sustainability you want.
We do see a full healing wave style so far out of Rehgar, and that's even when the Earth Shield or the Lightning Shield is applied to a target, you get a burst heal at level 4 there as well. So really trying to make sure that that burst healing is going to be effective, and we do see our first Web Weavers.
All right, the first Web Weavers have summoned at this point. This is going to give not only the advantage of that objective, but they're going to hit level 7 and have a talent tier advantage over their opponents for a short while. The Web Weavers are making their way down the map.
Now, really, the big goal with this set of Web Weavers are not really looking to take a fort, although that's something we did see, attempt from them during that first set in opening week. If they can just settle for taking a good set of towers against GIA, they will be well on their way with a huge level advantage going to 10.
Okay, well, right now, I mean, they're just holding up that advantage, taking out the structures. Every time tower falls, like you mentioned, they do, in fact, get that XP. Kerrigan getting very aggressive, diving in, putting in a threat for Alpha, forcing Alpha to fall back a little bit. This is just buying time for the Web Weaver. Mid lane, or bottom lane, excuse me, we see a lot of damage being done. The wall completely down, and that advantage is just going to propel forward once these forts start falling.
Yeah, always keep your eye on SBY. He is going to be the big initiator for YL. And if you look at the talents that were chosen, it is going to be that siphoning impact and the clean kill. That means that she can be using that Ravage ability to hop forward at a moment's notice, and you can just see the respect that Alpha is giving to SBY. Another pull in.
Oh my goodness, the Hunter's Mark goes down. Lunar Flare connects a big kill. God Dog gonna end up falling as well. No, the shield there just in a moment's time. Is the poison enough? He's super low. They're switching their focus to the Lumi, but no, a nice dimensional warp to get out of there.
Very well timed, and actually doesn't look like Jaina ended up falling after all. So although that was a great initiation from YL, a very good defense as well from GIA.
Okay, but they're still chasing the Lumi, and this time he won't be so lucky. They get him anyways.
Okay, so level 7, Tassadar has grabbed the persisting shields. Half of the remaining shields for that ability do not expire. And with the cooldown reduction being changed for 5 seconds for Tassadar, this could mean that we see, a lot more HP pool being added to the remaining of the team. Question is, do they have the time against this aggressive style that YL is putting forward?
Level 10 has been hit. We have Maelstrom. It is going to be Wheeling Arrow, Strafe, Shadowstalk, and of course, Mosh Pit. So this is a huge advantage for Team YL.
That was a big boon to their aggressive style in the past. We saw that Shadowstalk being used, to set up some flanks. They're not quite sure yet. You can see the shimmer, but the exact positioning is always quite difficult. Is that actually ETC dashing through? And we saw a lot of great plays set up because of that. So keep an eye out for that Shadowstalk.
All right, an attempt for a combo Shadowstalk has to be used for the heals. Johanna will get blown up. They did, in fact, use the Mosh Pit for that takedown. But this is going to be 2 towers going down, granting them 1,300 experience.
Now, there's something I really want to highlight from that last fight. The Mosh Pit was only used to take out a single hero. You don't always have to go for that ridiculous spectacle of a 5-man Mosh Pit. Although it's great and it can really turn a game around for you, they're in the position where they don't need to get so aggressive. They're taking a keep 6.5 minutes into this game.
This is insane. Talk about a good start to BlizzCon. Alpha will get blown up very quickly. Johanna trying to stay alive. Blue Wave will get pulled back in. 3 kills for nothing. And the middle keep does, in fact, go down here.
After a slight distraction, it's just going to be Rhaegar and Tassadar available, and they desperately need to get that Ancestral Healing. And I think that's really going to be the big thing. How well timed are those Ancestral Healings? If they can't quite find that timing window for it, it is going to be so difficult for them to make this comeback.
This is all about that mount synergy. They're all riding their Void Speeders, and it's just showing off at how good that helps your team.
So crisp. Love to see those in there. All right. Back to laning for a little bit. They know that they have this very strong 3-level advantage.
Yeah, that's an understatement. 3 levels up. I mean, they're pushing towards level 13, and there are still no heroics for GIA. On top of that, they're sitting in favor in terms of the gem count, something you can never forget. Turning in gems, that's the core map objective. It gives you just so many more options when it comes to split pushing. We do see a 16 going in right now, putting me at 39. They have enough in the pockets of ETC, and it looks like it'll be another tournament, and they're trying to sneak a boss as well. This is actually quite risky.
This is so smart. Okay, so while the Web Weavers have been taken, the enemy team, GIA in this case, can still see that the boss is being occupied, or at least being taken. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get out there in time. They say, we cannot take the risk not having heroics to take this fight.
It took advantage of that huge level lead that they have, and now they're going to push in with this giant death push in the top lane.
It's going to be quite difficult to hold off. Level 13 just around the corner, a single tower, even a set of minions, there it is. So every time you have those talent advantages, it is going to do so much for your team. But really having that force wall, we now have that Ancestral Healing on mark. What can GIA do to come back right now?
It's going to be tough, Kubi. Level up. The boss is here. The Web Weavers are marching down all 3 lanes. Top lane already has arrived. And even with Force Wall, I don't know if they can stop this push.
Force Wall is really going to be impactful in these types of situations. They have to isolate single heroes and make use of Sonya as best they can. The additional stuns from Johanna. They have to have amazing, impeccable positioning.
Oh my goodness, the Primal Grasp hits 3 targets of that. We do see a big Ancestral Heal, but is it enough to even keep Lulumi alive? 3 members have fallen. The boss is still standing, and they are pushing down this top lane. They might even try to end the game sub 10 minutes.
They still have Web Weavers, the boss with more than half HP. We are in a 9-minute game, but it is going to be so difficult to stop this now. The shields are down, and we are looking at a lower than 50% core.
A 4-level lead. The first game of BlizzCon 2015 goes to Team YL.
Well then, that was pretty quick. That was very decisive.
That's an understatement, Kubi. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw a team just open up a tournament like that. Just barreling into their opponents like they were a stack of cups. I mean, it just falls over.
Famous Jake analogies, always making the most sense. Yeah, no, I mean, it's more important as you get into this first game that you make a statement for the rest of the teams watching. They know that they have a gauntlet to run through. They